gathered groups of men in cellars. He got up on a box and talked to them in that reedy voice, sometimes a whistling noise because of his wound in World War I. I couldn't tell you what he said because I was way in the back, but when he finished, these guys were all ready to go back to the fight. He was that kind of leader. Yet Allen had his detractors. The voiceover for a television documentary on the 1st Division described him as showing up disheveled and drunk to meet with the top brass in Sicily. The commentary also labeled him not a team player. Author Leonard Mosley, in a biography of General George C. Marshall, called Allen a rip-roaring drunk. The 1st Infantry Division under Allen's generalship was recognized by his peers as the best foot soldier outfit in the North African campaign. When Patton, long a sometime friend and competitor, was in charge of the American effort for the invasion of Sicily, he insisted on having Allen and his division under his command. The 1st Division spearheaded the ground forces in the conquest of the Italian island. Yet Patton would acquiesce to Allen's subsequent relief from his post and his transfer in semi-disgrace back to the United States. Nonetheless, Allen rose from his ashes to return to Europe as leader of the 104th Infantry Division and successfully campaigned to the Elbe River, where he and his troops met the Soviet forces. He had been bloodied along the Mexican border and participated in the U.S. punitive adventure that invaded Mexico in 1916. As a member of the American Expeditionary Force in France, Allen incurred bullet and shrapnel wounds while piling up a heroic record. He returned to the States for the 20-year period during which the American military, still an alien culture in a democracy devoted to material gain, all but starved. The Great Depression would pinch the armed forces even further. Most newspaper and magazine accounts of Allen paint a portrait of the traditional professional soldier, hard-bitten, profane, and combative. To many, he fitted the stereotype of the Irishman, boisterous, fond of storytelling, and most comfortable on a bar stool. The impression given is that of a man with limited dimensions, a person who, unlike the citizen soldier, falls outside the common American experience. However, although Terry Allen, an Army brat born at the time the frontier vanished, operated within the ordinarily tight, hierarchical confines of his profession, he disdained the book. Mercurial, a maverick from childhood, he showed scant interest in the academic aspects of the institutionally schooled soldier. Yet time and again he demonstrated that not only did he know how to wage war, but also he was a master of strategy, tactics, and ordnance. Allen never was all gun and no heart. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he was a man of extraordinary compassion, even as he directed the bloody business of America's greatest war. Although he grew up on Army posts, played with the rough-hewn children of soldiers, associated with the crude, hard-drinking, often illiterate enlisted men, and as a young officer was a zealous carouser, he was as devoted a family man as one could find. As he approached his 30th birthday, his letters from the trenches of France to "my dearest Mama" and Papa were filled with affection and filial respect. He adored his wife, Mary Fran, and doted on his son, Terry Jr. And while deeply engaged in wartime operations, his position did not isolate him from the vicissitudes of money problems and family crises. Terry Allen was the middleman in a military saga that stretches for nearly a century. His is a tale of fathers and sons. His sire, Samuel E. Allen, graduated from the United States Military Academy, USMA, in 1881. And Terry Allen's son, Terry Allen Jr., followed the family vocation to meet his destiny in Vietnam. The army in which Sam Allen served barely resembled that which occupied his son from 1912 to 1945. And in the post-Korea and Vietnam era, Terry Allen Jr. confided to a friend, "My dad could never have survived in the Army of today." Terry Jr. adored his father, according to his closest associates. When he chose to follow the path of a father who is the stuff of legends, he embarked on an exceedingly rough road. Terry Allen's West Point. Terry Allen's acquaintance with West Point began with his father's tour as a teacher. There was pomp and circumstance aplenty to seduce the imagination of a boy, and over the years Samuel Allen undoubtedly transmitted to Terry his nostalgic affection for his life as a cadet. When the family then moved